Oh, that's so nice. I feel like it's my audience. Like she's watching us. She's before you
Previously on Chronicles of
parents
Dania.
pretty much guide all your decisions, right? So after an entire lifetime of following a strict-ish code, I finally had space to do whatever I wanted.
Typically with the classic Alfredo, it's salt, a little bit of black pepper. But being the Nigerian spice babe that I am, I usually like to add a bit of heat, so I throw in some Cameroon pepper as well.
Hey people, welcome back to Chronicles of Dania. This is the third episode. So while freedom is important, some kind of structure is importanter. Now what do I mean? So while I was having a good time, trying my hands at everything I wanted to do, I was painting, I was baking, I was reading, I was doing all sorts of things. Now while that was fun, I realized at some point that I needed to have some sort of structure, especially as my client base increased and then my interests started to collide, right? So sometimes, you can imagine I'm in the middle of decorating someone's house somewhere and then I get a call that someone wants banana bread urgently or something, do you get? So I needed to have some kind of structure that allowed all my interests to coexist. So the first thing I did was to register a business name that allowed me to have everything in one place. Okay, so the business name was Glass Slipper Collective. Glass slipper because I'm like your proverbial fairy godmother, making all your dreams come true. And collective because I could put all the three businesses I was currently doing and any other thing, I pick up in future. So that's why Glass Slipper Collective. So under that I had Glass Slipper Home Bakes for the baking business. I had Glass Slipper Spaces for the design business, and then I had Glass Slipper Paintings for the paintings, So yeah, so that was the first, thing I did in terms of structure. And it also made people trust me a bit more, because coming to say, oh, hi, my name is Dania, I can do this for you, as opposed to, having a business name, having a website, and all of that, and having, opening a proper account and all of that. So that helped me in terms of structure. The second thing I did was scheduling. So I first of all, Mondays were my days off. Mondays are still my days off as much as I can, So Mondays I'll just do whatever I felt like doing. It was like self-care. Go to the salon, do your nails, or just lie down, or just sleep the whole day, or Netflix, or chill. So Mondays were just my cook yourself a nice meal and just chill. And Mondays, because everybody else is slaving away, so I kind of felt good about it. And then so that was the first schedule I put in place. And then I also found out that all the other businesses could be planned, but the baking, people wanted it, like, I want it now. Give me banana bread now. So I had to be like, well, hold on. I'm not running a major factory yet. So what I did was I put a 48-hour pre-order schedule. So if you wanted something, like a cake for Wednesday, you have to order it on Monday. So, that helped me sort of balance out all the things I was doing. It helped me not burn out, because that's another thing that can happen. So you're having fun, but you can also burn out having fun. You get, so scheduling was really, really another important structure lesson that I learned. Since we're talking about structure, I figure I'll show you some of the staples that I have in my kitchen that sort of help me be open with my kitchen experience, right? To do things a little bit differently. So the first thing I'll show you is my KitchenAid stand mixer. Now, this is like one of my best friends in the kitchen. It's because they're pretty versatile. You can use them for all sorts of things. Mixing batters, mixing doughs, making ice cream. You can use it for pretty much anything, And then there are also attachments you can buy, that make them even more functional. So you can you can make pasta with it, spiralize stuff. So it's really, really functional. Now, there are different kinds of mixers, right? It doesn't have to be a KitchenAid. It doesn't even have to be a stand mixer, to be honest, because sometimes they might be a little bit expensive. But then, so you don't have to have a stand mixer, but if you can afford to get one, I'd say that this is, it's really important. But then I also have a hand mixer, which comes in, it pretty much does almost everything this guy does, right? And to be honest, for a full year, after I started baking, I was using a hand mixer for all my baking. So very useful as well. And they're really affordable. I think the first one I bought probably cost less than 10k, maybe about 6 or 7 or 8k or something. So a hand mixer is also really good for whipping cream, for whipping up your egg whites. It just sort of makes your kitchen experience a bit more open. You have more options in the kitchen, right? So there's that. And then obviously there are also the traditional whisks. Now these guys do almost everything these other guys do, but then they're not obviously you probably have to put in a bit more elbow grease with these guys, right? So yeah, you might as well just get your bicep workouts in. So that's for these guys. The next, my food processor, really fantastic. I use it for, but my best attachment on the food processor is a chopping blade, because you can use it for pretty much anything, right? Pounded yam, you know, all sorts of things, mashed potatoes, for chopping, you know, things you want to chop. So there's that, and there's also a blender part of it, and the other attachments for that. Okay, so now let's talk ovens, right? Now I know that I find that many Nigerians don't really use their ovens. I don't know why. I mean, I guess because it's probably a bit more, we think that it's a bit more technical than just cooking over the countertop. But I find that ovens are really, I mean, I find them easier to cook with, because with the countertop, you have to be there watching the fire to make sure nothing is burning. But with an oven, once you set your temperature, set the timer, you know, you're good. And you can go and sleep and come back and your food isn't burned, do you understand? So ovens are really, you know, they're really, I think they're a great tool. So most kitchens, if you have yours, just open it and just look around and see what's going on there. Now, one important tool I have in my oven is an oven thermometer, right? So I got this for maybe $10 or so on Amazon, but you can find them on pretty much any e-commerce retail store in Nigeria. They're very useful because not all ovens are temperature graded. Mine is, but then even when it is, you know, sometimes the humidity and the atmosphere affects the temperature of your oven. So this tells you what the exact temperature is. So just toss it inside your oven before you start to bake or cook, and it tells you the temperature. I also have a standalone, like a candy or a meat thermometer. It's not, I don't really call it a staple like that, but I mean, if you want to be a bit extra, they don't cost much as well, less than $10. You can use it to tell the temperature of when you're making candy, or when you're cooking. If you want to do steak, it can tell you the right temperature. So that's for that. That's for thermometers. Then you also want to get a couple of oven safe dishes. They're very important. This is the first set of pans I bought. I'll tell you a funny story about how I started baking, but this is the very first set of pans I bought when I made my banana bread the first time. And so yeah, and so the thing with pans is you want to just, you know, start with one or two and then build your repertoire over time. So if you want to bake maybe a cake, and start with an 8-inch pan. The next time you want to bake some brownies, maybe get a rectangular pan. You want to do cookies, maybe get a dish, you know, something like that. So yeah, so just start with a few and then build up with your pans. Ramekins, these are like my favorite oven dishes. Basically because they're really cute, first of all. And they're like simple one pot dish, you know, one pot recipe dishes, right? So you can do pies, cakes, and they're really they're really versatile. You can use them for pretty much anything in the oven. There's also parchment paper. It's not expensive at all. This is like, I think 700 naira or so for a cup, but then they're very useful in the kitchen. You spread them on your baking pan so that things don't burn or stick to the pans. So yes, let's move to my mason jars. These guys are my best friends, and I have all sorts. I'll tell you, I have them in different sizes, different shapes. They're very useful for. So this is for drinks. You can mix a drink inside here, but I have the ones that I just, you know, use for storing sauces, leftover cream. Just pour them inside. And then something I do when I don't want to be fancy and, you know, actually go and buy a ramekin, a mason jar, I buy honey jars, right? So instead of buying like honey in bottle, I probably just buy it in a jar so that I can turn this into a mason jar. So that's a good tip for you. And now let's move to my measuring cups and spoons. Very important, because you find that most recipes will tell you a quarter teaspoon of this, a cup of that. You don't want to start doing the math in your head. Okay, a cup is how many ml, blah 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 blah. So just buy this. They're really affordable and really useful. They come in sets like these most of the time. I know what's her name, Aspiring Fit Farm on Instagram. She sells, like, you know, them at a really good rate. You might want to check that out. Then speaking of ingredients, I'm going to show you 2 ingredients I almost always have in my pantry or in my fridge. And the first is lemons. I know lemons, right? But I pretty much use lemons for almost everything. Especially, so this is a zested lemon because I've already used the zest, because they're so flavorful. You can just sprinkle them over a dish and it just gives you an instant lift, right? So lemon zest is important, and lemon juice as well. So once I take off the zest with my lemon zester, that's somewhere, But take it off with my lemon zester, sprinkle it over anything in your baking, even in savory dishes. It really gives your dishes a pick-me-up, right? So you want to have some lemon handy. And then once I zest it, I use the juice for almost pretty much everything. And then the final ingredient I'll show you is vanilla. Like the name sounds, because vanilla has even come to now mean almost like staple, right? Because vanilla the flavor goes with everything, right? In almost, I think there's no cake I bake without vanilla. Even if it's a chocolate cake, I add a dash of vanilla because it's such a versatile flavor and it just sort of lifts up your baking, especially. So yeah, that's about it. So the gist of this episode really is freedom is important, but some kind of structure is importanter, so you can be creative and still operate within a structure that allows you to be creative. And that was a lesson I learned, and I think it was really, really important. Gotcha. I'm not going this time. So thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.